What is up, everybody? This is Clint coming to you from the Die Hard MMA podcast and odds.com for total madness for UFC 251. I am sorry I gave you a bit of a cliffhanger on Twitter and I let you know my official picks were coming right here on the show this week rather than being tweeted out. So we've got two for you today and I'm going to give you my reads on the totals for the entire card. Let's dive right on in. Getting our night started, we have got Davey Grant taking on Martin Day. Over and under is set at 2.5 for this one. Juice to the over at -210. First thing we got to recall is that we're headed to Fight Island, baby. We're not in UFC Apex anymore. Those unders that we were cashing left and right because of that small cage, out the window. No more of that. We got the full-sized cage again. Fighters that can stick and move, fighters that can use their footwork, they are going to be much more able to implement those games. Grapplers, they're going to have a harder time getting a hold of their opponents and dragging them to the mat again because of that distance. So we have got to keep that in mind. We've got this 2.5 total, and I would lean... I'm looking closely at this one, folks. We've got plus 175 on the under 2.5 here. And the only reason I'm hesitant is because Martin Day has been out for 2 years due to injury concerns. If he hadn't been gone for 2 years, if I knew the kind of condition he was in, if I could see the improvements that he had made, I'd be in on Martin Day here. I think this is a showcase fight potentially for him. Davey Grant is dangerous. Most of his losses have come by submission, and Martin Day's best weapon is that left hook. So I don't know if Martin Day will be able to actually put him down inside the distance or if this one will squeak its way over to the judges' scorecards, but I wouldn't hate a shot at plus 175 for that under 2.5. The next fight on the card is a women's fight. We've got Rosa taking on Vanessa. The over and under is set at 2.5 once again, with the over being -300. Let's be real. There's not a whole lot of chance of this one finishing inside the distance. Most women's fight go to the judges' scorecards, and this is one that I don't see the finishing ability of either woman. They're both very durable. They know how to squeeze their way to the judges' scorecards, so I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole because I don't lay that kind of chalk, and I'm definitely not rolling the dice on that kind of an under. The next fight, we've got Raulian Paiva taking on Master Z Zuglas Zumagulov, and we have got a 2.5 once again. This time the under, plus 225 with the over -265. This one's got me scratching my head, folks. I'm very, very tempted to take a stab at that under 2.5 on this one. My key for taking the unders is I want a plus line, and I've got to have two fighters that are able to contribute to that under cashing, and we have absolutely got that here. Paiva finished his last opponent, and before that he had cut and hurt his most recent opponent. So he's showing that he's kind of coming along. He's blossoming. He's got that power. He's starting to show the pop on his punches. Master Z, on the flip side of this thing, he's going to be able to find that button. He's got a big winging overhand right, and he lands that thing with deadly accuracy. And as we know, Paiva tends to drop his hands. However, his chin has held up so far. Master Z's got that wrestling in his back pocket. There's a chance that he could look to grind this one rather than get into a striking match. So we do have two fighters that can absolutely contribute to this under, and 225 is the kind of number that I'm looking for. The only worry for me is the footwork and movement of Paiva and the grappling of Zuglas, that both of them might try to move this thing along. And I don't know why. I feel like I pronounce his name Douglas with a Z, Zuglas. I don't know why I keep doing this. It's Zalgas. I apologize. The next fight of the night, Marcin Tybura taking on Alexander Romanov. Romanov comes to us from the Russian regional scene. The kid is undefeated, a heavyweight prospect that we're all very, very excited about. It's a pick'em price. The over-under set at 2.5 is almost a pick'em as well. Slightly juiced to the under at -115. The over 2.5 comeback is -105. This is one that I'm kind of scratching my head on. A lot of times what we'll see is when you take that first big step up in competition, you struggle a little bit. So he may not just steamroll through Tybura like he has steamrolled through his previous opponents. He has a very low level of competition on the Russian regional scene over there. He absolutely dominated them, but he's going to face someone who can toss back here and is, I don't want to say Tybura's durable. He's been knocked out quite a few times, but we don't know if Romanov is on the level of the men who have knocked out Tybura. And with UFC debut, you don't know maybe if he's coming off of any performance-enhancing drugs that are perfectly fine and legal over in Russia, but not when you're fighting in the UFC. That could hamper his performance. Tybura is a decent striker. He could out-finesse him and drag this thing out. Honestly, if anything, I'd be looking towards the over 2.5 here and have a sneaky little look towards that one squeaking its way to the judges. Next fight of the night is Roman Bogatov taking on Leonardo Santos, and this is the one, folks. We've got action here. We've got an over-under set at 2.5. The over is -175. The comeback on the under +145, and that's where we're looking. We're going on the under 2.5. +145 in this fight. We've got two opponents who can both contribute to that under, and Leonardo Santos is a next level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Roman Bogatov is gonna look to put this right in his wheelhouse. He sells out for the takedown. I've seen him get in some scrambly situations. He gives up that back and he provides openings for his opponents to get there. He just hasn't faced anybody that's been able to take advantage of it. He also tends to get tired later in the fight. Once he does, his striking is a little bit sloppy, and Santos has bombs for hands, folks. I think this one has a very good shot at going that under 2.5. Santos is also 40 years old, and if there's any opportunity that this man is missing a beat, if he has lost a step, there's always that chance that Roman Bogatov can do his thing and finish it on his side as well. I'm locking up that under 2.5 at +145. The next fight is Danny Henry taking on Makwan Amirkhani. We've got over-under set at 2.5. -110. This is a pick'em on the total, and I'm going to go ahead and lock up an under. This is play number 2, folks. We're going to take Makwan Amirkhani, Danny Henry, under 2.5. The reason for that is we've got two very dangerous opponents that are looking to step in this cage. Makwan Amirkhani has some gas tank issues later in the fight, and he knows that. He's a first-round monster. His grappling is on another level, both wrestling and jiu-jitsu, extremely high level. Danny Henry has got some serious heat pop on his punches, and he was able to choke Hakeem Minduadu unconscious in about 50 seconds in their fight. So both guys are definitely bringing that fire. And if Makwan Amirkhani gasses out, I think he will be easy pickings for Danny Henry. If he doesn't gas out, that's because he got the first round finish. I really like that under 2.5, and it's only -110. I like to get plus money on my totals, but in this particular case, I'm going to take it. The next fight is Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos taking on Muslim Salikhov. We have got an over-under once again set at 2.5 rounds, -150 to the over, +130 to the under. This is an interesting situation. Kind of a step up in competition for Muslim Salikhov. He's done nothing but impress since he got to the UFC. The King of Kung Fu has an absolute ton of knockouts on his record. Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, same situation. BJJ black belt, big bombs in his hands. However, I think this might be a situation where these fighters respect one another just a little bit too much. They're both insanely dangerous. Muslim Salikhov is low volume. He looks to slow down the pace of the fight and then find his one crisp shot to put his opponent down. The problem is he's taken on someone in Elizeu Zaleski that I don't know if is going to open the best opportunity for him to land the big KO bomb, and I don't know if he'll have enough volume to accrue the damage needed to put him away. Same thing on the flip side of this. Salikhov's got an iron chin, and I don't know if Zaleski's going to be able to get him to the mat for a submission threat, so I kind of lean to that under, but because of how dangerous they both are, I definitely don't want to lay -150 for it to go over. The next fight is Jiří Procházka, I think. I can't say that guy's last name. Taking on Volkan, no time, Oezdemir. And we've got the total set at 1.5 for this one. No surprise. These boys have bombs. Jiří is well known for finishing his fights in the very first round and putting his opponents down with brutal KOs. Volkan has the nickname No Time because of his first round knockout ability. And both guys absolutely can contribute to an under here, but the last thing I saw was Jiří going a full 15 minutes with a very, very dangerous King Mo wall. He knows how to slow it down. He knows how to look for his opponents later in the fight, and he's taking on Volkan Oezdemir, who is a much more seasoned opponent, who also knows how to bid his time, who knows how to slow the pace of a fight down, and I think will have a grappling edge here in this fight. If anything, I'd be looking at the over 1.5 on this one. They've got it -145 though, and I can't have that. With how dangerous both these guys are, with the ability both them have to finish the fight in the first round, someone's chin may very well crack. I don't know if that's the case, and I don't want to be laying -145 to find out that I am wrong. Paige VanZant taking on Amanda Ribas. We've got another total set at 1.5, which is very unusual for the women's fights, but because of the danger level presented by Amanda Ribas, that's, I think, where we're getting this. The other line that they've set is the 2.5 at minus 145 to the over. Under is going to be plus 125. I apologize. I was looking at the alternate line on that one. So the 2.5 is set more appropriately. This makes a little more sense live here on video. Sorry, folks. And the under 2.5 plus 125 has me intrigued. Basically, if you're going to bet the under 2.5, you're saying Amanda Ribas is going to get the finish. You're going to bet on Amanda Ribas to go ahead and choke Paige VanZant out. She's got 2 rear naked choke submission losses on her record already, and Ribas has a judo base with a high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. She's got much better hands than Paige VanZant does as well. That under 2.5 at plus 125, very intriguing in my opinion just because of that weakness. However, Paige VanZant looks like she's packed on some muscle, looks like she's ready to go. She knows the UFC is looking to put her down here, and she wants to play spoiler. So because of that, I feel like she's going to implement a wrestling-heavy game plan, and that might squeak us over to the judges' scorecards. So I'm not going to play that one. But if you do want to bet Amanda Ribas, maybe just take that under 2.5 and roll the dice anyway. Instead of laying minus 900, go ahead and get plus 125 that she catches that submission. Jéssica Andrade taking on Rosa Namajunas, a rematch from one of the worst knockouts I've ever seen in my entire life. The total once again set at 2.5. The over minus 160, the under plus 140. I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. No idea what's going to happen in this fight. Rosa Namajunas is perfectly capable of finishing. She's got high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu herself. Lots of submissions on her record. Her hands are coming along. She knocked out Joanna. She can easily finish this fight. We know Andrade can finish this fight. She did it last time. She's got the slams. She's got Jiu-Jitsu. Her ground and pound is monstrous. So you would say, hey, Clint, why wouldn't you take this spot? Because you've got 2 fighters that can contribute to that under 2.5 like you talked about, and you're getting plus 140. That's a great question. The issue here for me is that I think Rose is going to look to stay away because of what happened in the last fight. She's either going to look to smother Andrade, or she's going to look to stay clear away from her and stick and move. I'm leaning towards the stick and move is the game plan here because I don't think she wants to tie up with that monster again. And because of that, I think she's going to win a decision. That's my lean there. So I'm not pulling the trigger because I'm not uber confident in it. So I'm not touching that total. But again, wouldn't necessarily hate a stab at the under because they all are both very, very dangerous. But I kind of feel like that one gets to the judges' scorecards. José Aldo taking on Petr Yan. We've got 2.5, minus 165 to the over, plus 145 to the under. This one is one that pisses me off because they're right on that line. José Aldo has got knocked out just seconds over that 2.5 in both of his fights with Max Holloway, and that's exactly how I read this fight playing out. I think Petr Yan is going to get the knockout. I think he does it in round 4, and so because of that, I have to go ahead and lean to the over. Now, José Aldo has put some people down with body shots in the first couple of rounds several times. Petr Yan, however, this guy's made out of iron. I don't think he's going to be put down with a body shot, and he's incredibly patient. He doesn't rush his finishes. He likes to sit back and wait for them to come to him. So I'm very tempted to play that over 2.5, even though it's juiced all the way to minus 165, and even though we've got 2 very dangerous KO-capable fighters, I definitely think this one gets into the later rounds, but I don't have the price I like enough to bet it. Now we've got the co-main event, Max Holloway taking on Alexander Volkanovski. The over-under is set at 4.5, and I hate when they do this for these 5-round title fights. They piss me off. 4.5, minus 245 to the over, plus 205 on the under 4.5, and I could only look over on this one. I know Max is dangerous. I know Volkan is dangerous, but we just saw that they can go a full 25 minutes, and Max is made out of bricks, folks. I think the only way this thing goes under 4.5 is if Max finishes Volkanovski. But both these men are just made out of iron. Neither of them have shown any type of injury. I don't think I've seen either of them rocked. I mean, I know Max got rocked against Dustin Poirier, so I'll take that back. But he walks through everything like a zombie. Eventually, that durability will fade, but he's one of these Hawaiian warriors with something else. That chin is just unreal. I don't think this one ends. I think we get another decision, and I think this one is going to be a squeaky one. It might even be a split. So I can't touch it because we're getting minus 245 on that over, and I have zero interest in the under, even though we're getting a delicious line. Kamaru Usman taking on Gilbert Burns. Once again, we've got a 4.5 line set, minus 160 to the over, plus 140 to the under. And this is one that I am once again going to go ahead and avoid. I know that's kind of sucky for being the main event to not have the action on the total here, but let me be real with you guys. I'm going to take the dog. I'm going to bet on Gilbert Burns here, and that's going to be just enough action for me for the main event. He's dangerous enough to finish this thing inside the distance, although we've seen Usman is another one of these guys that's carved straight from marble by the gods. It's going to take something huge for Burns to be able to knock him out. We just saw Burns take on Tyron Woodley, who is a smaller version of Usman, and he was able to win a convincing decision, but he didn't get him out of there. So I know Burns is capable of finishing, but I don't know if he will be able to actually get it done. Usman on the other side of this is a decision machine. If it wasn't for the broken jaw, he wouldn't have taken out Colby. I don't think that he's going to be able to land that kind of damage on Burns, and I think this one gets its way to the judges' scorecards once again. I think the co-main and the main event both make it the full distance, and at 4.5, minus 160, I'm not really interested in that. I wouldn't blame you for taking a stab at that plus 140 for a juicy looking under when you've got two dangerous fighters, but this is one that I'm going to go ahead and have to pass. That's Total Madness, folks. We broke down every single fight on the card, and we gave you two official picks. We've got Makwan Amirkhani taking on Danny Henry under 2.5 at minus 110. And then Leonardo Santos taking on Roman Bogatov under 2.5 at plus 145. Those are my looks on the card. Good luck, everybody. Don't forget, this is not Saturday. It's next Saturday, so we still got a while. Tune in to Odds HQ. We'll be bringing more content to you next week. Good luck on all your other action this week, and let's roll.